Welcome to Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. I'm Amy Shannon, but you can call me Amy. Thank you for listening. Hello and welcome. I hope all is well with you. I'm Amy, and today I'm talking about the importance of reviews. Recently, I created a project called Amy's Bookshelf Reviews Best Reads Recommendation and Review Journal Project. Authors of various genres contributed to this project. The project has been turned into a book and will have free downloads and for readers and everything. And it should be available by February 1st, and that's my intention to have it there. The purpose of the book was to, one, help authors promote their work, but while also teaching readers how to write a review. And sometimes authors may read someone else's work, but they're not quite sure how to write a review, or if they should write a review, depending on what they thought of it. You know, just because you like something or don't like something, sometimes that determines whether you'll write a review or not. And more people are inclined to write a review that is negative than one that is positive. But I want this book to, it's about reading and promoting and knowing that there's different ways that you can write a review. Very simple. You don't have to, write paragraphs, but it's kind of like I set it up so it's a journal, and the sections are divided by target age categories that I created for the book. I have children, which are children under 6, middle grade, between the ages of 6 and 12, young adults between the ages of 13 and 17, mature young adults, which is 16 plus, adults, 18 plus, and mature adult, 18 plus, and the book has explicit language or scenes. And, any book that's out there has the right to be out there, whether you like the genre or not. If it's not a genre you're fond of, you probably won't want to read the book. If you like romance, but not details, then you might, stay away from erotic, but you might just go towards romance. And there's so many different kinds of romance and thrillers and horrors. There's, age target and, specifics. I mean, I didn't hear of cozy mysteries until several years ago, and I was like, oh, what's a cozy mystery? And then once I read it, I was like, oh, well, I understand now. It's very cleanly written. A lot of, it's clean. There's not too many graphic details about the crime, especially if it's, a murder. So, those are like the mysteries they have on the Hallmark Channel, something like that. And when I was putting the book together, it's each section, there's individual sections for each book title, and that includes the title, if it's in a series, the name of the series, the volume number, the genre, fiction or nonfiction, poetry, something like that, and subgenres. And, something can be a thriller and it can be paranormal, or it can be paranormal and supernatural, different things, or it's full of magic and it's fantasy, whatever the genres are. And then, of course, the author's name, the target audience, age audience, which I had mentioned, and it tells about the book, so it's basically giving the book description and where it can be bought. And then there's a few pages of questions that the reader can go through, and there's some baseline questions that are asked for every single genre, every target audience, and then there's some that are specific to the genre or the age target. Excuse me. So some of the questions that I put in there are, before reading this title, did you look at the book's reviews that have been posted? And if there were any reviews posted. Many times I'll write a review for a book and mine is the only one that is posted at that point. And other times there's a bunch of them. So I think that's, it's a way to get the word out about these books, not just reading them and the author making money off of them, making their royalties, but also knowing what people really think of their book. And I think that's important too. Another question is, in one sentence, how would you describe this book? And I ask that because if you ask an author the same question, how would you describe your book? Sometimes, not always, but sometimes it makes them think like, oh, how would I describe my book? And so, like when I get a review request, I always ask the author, tell me how you would describe your book in, 2 sentences or less. And it's really a way for them to think about, okay, what's my book about and how can I say it short, in just a few words and without like going into every single detail of the book and telling me about it. And that's another thing about when you're writing or reading a book description. If you read a book description and it tells you all about the book, how it's going to end, everything like that, what's the point of reading the book? You already know what happens. So authors, be diligent when you are writing your book description. You don't want to give everything away. Another question that I asked in the journal is how you would have you ever read this author's work before? So that, if you haven't, what made you do that? Maybe it was this journal. Or if you have and, you want to keep reading their other books, that's always good. Authors thrive on fans and repeat readers. So that's always a good thing. And share your thoughts. And in the days of, the digital age where we can email or go to our favorite author's website and comment and sometimes make contact with authors, that is really not just a thrill for the reader, but also the author, especially indie authors. We don't always feel appreciated about our work. We don't always hear from fans and things like that. But anyways, one of the other questions I wrote, how would you describe your overall thoughts about this book? And this would be something, just a few words, and it could make a really good heading for the review. And of course, there are other questions like the point of view, the tense of the book, and some people, I have read books written in, past tense, and I've also read several that have been written in present tense, and that's not an easy tense to write into, and it kind of changes the dynamic of the story than if it had been written in past tense. So that is something that is very interesting. And I always ask, I always want the reader to say, okay, this is what I liked about the book, this is what I didn't like about the book. And it could be something very small you didn't like. Maybe you didn't like a character. And maybe you're not supposed to like that character. Maybe that's supposed to be one of those people, one of those characters that you love to hate, or you just hate outright. You're just like, oh my God, why is this person in this book? But the author always has reasons for why they put good and bad and evil people in their stories. Reviews can also, they can help the author with promotions and also help readers, show readers what others have thought of the book. If we were buying a car, a new computer, or any kind of product, we would look at the reviews before buying, and that's what readers do. I don't look at the reviews of a book I'm reviewing until after I write and post my reviews, so my opinion can't be swayed by what others thought. But it is a very important thing. If you read a book, write a review. That's all I really can say. I think it's so important, and it's not just for the avid readers or people who read. If you're an author and you're reading other people's work, you should know that you should be writing a review, because you would want them to write a review for you. And I know that because I do a lot. Obviously, I have Amy's Bookshelf Reviews, and I've been reviewing books since 2014. And, when just the start of being able to post reviews online, and that's, it's a different kind of thing. And it's not like old school stuff where the only books reviews you would see would be celebrity authors on the bestseller list, and they would be in magazines or your local newspaper. So, writing reviews is important, and I know that because I do it. But sometimes I wish that if someone had read my book, that they would write a review, because I don't always have time to go out and say, hey, can you review my book if you read it? So, if you read any of my books, please write a review, whether you like it or not. Good and bad reviews can tell you, can tell the author information. I mean, we don't like bad reviews, but maybe we can learn from them. This has been Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. Thank you for listening. And always, be kind and stay safe. Thank you. So, if you're an author who wants to be on the show, or you just want your book to be on the show, go to amysbookshelfreviews.com/podcast for more information. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next week.